Hello guys, my name is Jason Lowe and I'll be doing a quick tutorial on how to add explosion effects to your Crysis Wars level. The first thing you want to do is go to Entity, find the particle folder and select a particle effect and bring that into your Crysis Wars level, like so. Drag this up. Now the next thing you want to do obviously is to pick an explosion. So we'll do that by going to the database at the top right corner of the screen next to our flow graph. So we'll click that and we'll find the particles tab and click load library. Now there's a bunch of different particle effects you can use here. You've got rain, water, wind. Feel free to look through these afterwards if you want to muck around with them, but for this tutorial we'll look at explosions. So select explosions.xml and open that. Ignore that, and here we go. This window here, that's a display window. It'll show you what the explosion looks like when you select it. This here is the actual library. Now Crysis Wars has a lot of different explosions you can choose from. There's huge explosions like nuclear mushroom cloud type things to tiny ones like flower pots blowing up. You're obviously going to have to look through these to figure out which explosion best fits your Crysis Wars level. Let's see, let's pick one. Truck explosion. There you go. Now, under each folder, they've got sub explosions, and under the sub explosions, they've got more sub explosions. So, for instance, this backup explosion here, as you can see, it's previewed there, quite pretty. That backup explosion is made up of an explosion and a fire, and those two components are again made up of a bunch of different stuff. The point of this is you don't have to use the full explosion like that. You can, if you want something more specific or if you want something different, you can always open up a explosion and just jump through the children of each parent to find out what you want. So let's say if you want the debris for some reason, or if you want the shockwave of a fire, you can use that instead. But yeah. So once you find the explosion you like, select it, select your particle effect, and right click your explosion and click assign to selected objects. Now that will bring the particle effect from the database into the actual Crysis War game. So go ahead and do that, and there we go. Nice big explosive sound and fire. The thing to note though is quite a number of these explosions in this library here, they don't actually have sound. I'm not sure why this is. That's just how Crysis is. It's silly, but whatever. You're gonna have to go through a few of these to find out which have sound and which don't have sound. You can have an explosion without sound, but that's up to you. And you can also add your own sound to the explosion. So back in this, on the right here, we've got the properties for the explosion. As I said, you can add a sound file to your explosion. You don't have to have an explosion. You could always have, like, I don't know, a song if you want to. It's up to you. But apart from the sound, you can also affect the physics, the speed at which the flames move or the animation carries out. You can affect what kind of light it emits. So you can, it can emit bright pink light or a dull blue light. It's up to you. A whole bunch of different properties you can muck around with, but for simplicity's sake, we'll leave it as it is. So once you're done mucking around with the properties and you've picked your explosion, close that. Now, the next thing to do, obviously, is to trigger the explosion. if we just jumped into the game right now, nothing would happen. So the way we do this is assign a flow graph to the particle effect. So go ahead and select your particle effect, then on the right, scroll down, find flow graph, and hit the create button. Then hit new when this window pops up, and name it something appropriate. So explosion. Why not? And hit OK. Your flow graph window will open up. The next thing you want to do is select the particle effect, right click, and hit add selected entity. That'll bring the particle effect from the game into the flow graph so we can edit or muck around with it. That's what the node looks like. It's got a disable, enable, restart, and spawn input or triggers. Self-explanatory. This one disables or removes the explosion. This one makes it appear. The restart resets everything and disables it, and spawn also makes it appear. So then the next thing you want to do is figure out what or how you want to trigger the explosion. There's a bunch of different ways. You can use a proximity trigger, so when you walk into an area, it'll trigger the explosion or something like that. But for simplicity's sake and for the most control, we'll use an input key. So right click and add node, go to input and key. This will let us hit a keyboard key, and whatever keyboard key we hit, it'll trigger the explosion. So click the input key, node, and over here on the right, select a key. Now, I advise picking a key that's not used by the Crysis War game already. For example, the G key is the grenade key. You could use that, but if you use the grenade key, you might blow yourself up. So, it's up to you. But I'm gonna go ahead and use O because it's not used. Next thing you want to do is click and drag the pressed output arrow and attach that to the enable. So whenever we hit the O key, it will enable the explosion. It will make the explosion appear. Now if we just left it like this, it would only explode once when we hit the O key. If we hit the O key again, nothing would happen because the particle effect, the explosion, has already been enabled. The only way to keep exploding it over and over again is to disable it and then re-enable it. So go ahead and attach the released key node output to the disabled. So now whenever we let go of the O key, it will disable it, and then if we hit the O key again, it will blow up, and when we let go, it would disable it, and it'll do that over and over again. So let's jump in and see what it looks like. And there you go. Feel free to add as many as you want, but keep in mind most of these explosions are pretty spectacular. They lag your computer a lot, so if you've got 10, 20, 30, 100 explosions on your screen at once, it might crash. Just a heads up to those people with low computers. That concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching.